Hello friends and welcome to my channel. We are kicking off a weekend reading vlog as I get ready here. I have not been looking at the camera this whole intro. I started a weekly reading vlog, hi Gingy, earlier this week and I did not like any of the footage, to be completely honest with you, so I scrapped it. I only read okay buddy, you're only here because I'm talking and I'm not talking to you. I only read 2 books at the beginning. I say only. 2 books is like kind of a lot of books, but I had basically only gave like finished thoughts on those 2 books. Okay. Too much. I really only gave like finished thoughts on those 2 books, so I don't really feel like me scrapping that footage was that big of a deal. So I'm just gonna update you on some of those things that I read. Just give a quick little summary situation and then move on. And then kick off the rest of this weekend. It's currently Friday. It's lunchtime at the moment. It has been raining all morning and it's been absolutely glorious. However, bye buddy. However, it has been so stinking cold. And so I sat in my pajamas all morning and was under a blanket and just tried to stay as warm as absolutely possible, and it mostly kind of sort of worked. But I feel like I so desperately need to leave the house, but also I've got some things that I want to get done this weekend, and I just feel like it would be a good time to just bring you along with me. I've got a lot of things that I want to get done this weekend, but I also have no priority list, so I feel like we're just gonna kind of see what happens. I feel like the act of me attempting to vlog literally anything this weekend is going to make me do at least something, even if it's just read or chit chat about what I'm reading, and I feel like that is kind of everything that I need at the moment. Like, I just feel like I'm getting a little stir crazy. I've not left the house. Well, I have left the house this week, but I feel like I've left the house a couple times this week, but I feel like when I've left, I haven't done anything. I went to Target, which, a sidebar, was actually a fun time. Thursday? Was that yesterday? Day before yesterday. I really needed to go to the grocery store, but the idea of going to the grocery store just hurt because I couldn't decide what I wanted for dinner, and the idea of actually going to a full-send grocery store just stressed me out a little bit, so I just didn't. However, I have been listening to Warbreaker and I've been having actually such a fun time. I feel like that audiobook is so descriptive in the colors that it obviously describes, because colors is such a big part of the magic system. And I've heard that the middle of the book gets really slow. However, as of right now, I'm having a fun time. I feel like Siri is getting herself into some trouble here, and also Vivenna. I've decided I don't like her, and part of me wonders if it's the audiobook and part of me wonders if I actually just don't like it though, and I think it's because the way, I wonder if I was reading it if it would come off different, but just listening to some of the opinions she has about her sister and how helpless she thinks that Siri is. And I also think part of that is framed for me to feel like that, because we'll see, oh, like, I need to go save helpless Siri, and then 2 seconds later you'll see Siri doing some things that are good, helpful. She's making some moves, and she's making, maybe not moves, but she's doing well for her, maybe not well for herself, but she's making progress, we'll say. Oh wow, that is really not good. That is what I get for not using a mirror and just thinking that I could look in the front-facing camera and make everything better. And the answer to that is only a little bit. I typically get ready in my bathroom, but I really just wanted to sit here and look at the cloudy skies out the window in front of me. Anyways, I started the Warbreaker audiobook Sunday morning as we were doing sprints. It's available on Audible if you have an Audible subscription, membership, however you call it, but it's also on Everend if you have that, but I didn't want to use my Everend credit on it in case I didn't end up sticking with it, which I'm kind of glad that I did. Wow, this is a whole technical experience I'm having over here. It's kind of fun, actually. I feel like doing your makeup gets so stinking boring. Doing it backwards in a camera is it's not really backwards. Doing it in a camera from far away feels like a fun switch up. Anyways, I wasn't sure how long I was gonna stick with that audiobook, just because I am on team time and I do have the white cover, and if I read the physical of it, I get extra bonus points because white covers are our team's colors. So I wasn't sure how long I was going to attempt to listen to the audiobook and if I was going to switch over to the physical at any point. However, I'm kind of jiving on the audio, but I also wasn't really sure if I was just going to actually read that now or if I was just going to soft DNF it and move on. But moral of the story, I was watching reading sprints Sunday morning while I was posting my Mariana Zapata ranking video, which I love Mariana Zapata. Anyways, I was just kind of needing an audiobook to listen to while I did that. And I also was listening to Well of Ascension previously, and I don't know. I keep saying this, I don't want to DNF it, but I'm also just not really finding it all that interesting at the moment. And it's because I'm in the thick of all of the world building and politicking and just like the slow bits, and I feel like I'm right on the cusp of it speeding up. However, I'm not there yet. And also Well of Ascension, like it's on my TBR, but it doesn't give me any extra points like this would. And also I've just been so stinking curious about it, so I started this just for a little bit. I do own the Audible book for Well of Ascension, so I can listen to that and pick that up again at literally any point. Like, it's not going to get returned on me or rely on me having a subscription if I cancel, because I'm kind of thinking of canceling Everand for a little bit. So I'm going to go back to that, and I think I'm going to continue listening to it, especially once my Warbreaker fascination is over. But I do want to finish the Mistborn trilogy because I feel so intrigued by The Way of Kings, but I also know that that is so long that it also scares me. But I definitely want to finish Mistborn Era 1 before I read Way of Kings. But one of my friends is doing a buddy read sometime here soon on Instagram, and it's kind of like an now or never thing. Like, if I was going to read The Way of Kings, I would want to read it as a buddy read. There would be no stretch of the imagination in which I would just casually read that by myself and not talk to anybody about it, because it is such an endeavor. Anyways, this is turning into a chit chat situation, and I'm not really all that mad about it, as I am almost done. Do I want to put on mascara? I kind of don't want to put on mascara because I love mascara. I don't feel like my face is complete without it. However, I hate taking it off. And I'm not really 100% sure that I'm actually going to go anywhere today. I just kind of wanted to feel better about myself. So I may or may not. No, I think I'm going to. I'm definitely going to. Who am I kidding myself? The whole clean girl, like, no mascara trend is cute. Like, I like mascara. Who's in? Before I so loathingly got sidetracked on my Sanderson journey, I literally need to hurry up before lunch is over, because I feel like lunch is halfway over. I've yet to actually eat lunch, and I have done 2% of the checking in that I wanted to do with you all to kick off this vlog. Anywhoozins, I currently listen to the Warbreaker audiobook. I'm having fun with it. I'm also technically listening to Well of Ascension. I'll get back to it at some point, probably once I've finished Warbreaker. However, I'm apparently having an audiobook moment because I also started listening to Hellbent on Monday. If you've ever read Ninth House or heard about Ninth House, it's very much so dark academia, but it's also magic, but it's also like grotesque magic, if you feel. It's not like the cute, happy, fun fairy kind of magic or like the edgy fae romance situation. It is true, grotesque, gothic, horror style magic, and it's definitely not for most people. And I wouldn't even necessarily say it's for me, but for some reason I found Hellbent to be comforting. I wasn't necessarily planning on reading the audiobook, but again, the audiobook edition is why the points that you earn, it goes off of the specific cover that you read. So like, I'm reading the audiobook for Warbreaker right now, so that white cover really won't count unless I pick that up physically and read most of it physically, I think, anyways. But the Hellbent audio technically is white. I put the audiobook on hold a while ago without really any intention of when I was going to read it. I kind of wanted to wait until closer to when book 3 is coming out, because I heard that the cliffhanger from book 2 was wild, and I definitely felt like it was wild. However, I'm not like as anxious for book 3. I wasn't really anticipating starting Hellbent anytime soon. However, I needed an audiobook that I could just have on in the background as just like a passive. I didn't need to pay as much aggressive attention to everything that was happening, and I just wanted the ambiance of something. Do you ever get like that? Like, I wanted to listen to an audiobook, but I just didn't want to have to focus aggressively. And if I missed out on any points, I didn't want to panic about not listening to it. But I felt like ninth house, like there's so many things that happen in it, and that the world building is so specific. But if you just skip over some of those specific pieces of all of the magic that's happening, you're still gonna get the vibe of what's happening. Like the details, I felt like I didn't understand half of the details, but it didn't matter necessarily that I didn't, and that when or if I ever chose to reread it, all of those details, I'd pick them up a lot better. And I think that's kind of the intention of that story, because the world building is so just like wacky and weird, and it doesn't really make sense from the get-go, because there's so much being thrown at you every 2 seconds. So that's kind of the intention of it. The magic system in that book and the magic itself is quite grotesque, and it's all like blood, guts, bodily fluids kind of generated magic. Like it's not cute, happy, fun, cutesy magic. However, there was something about the characters and the friendships and everybody just like coming together in Hellbent that was so oddly comforting to me. I don't know. I had a really great time. I listened to that basically all day Monday. No, I listened to that all day Monday. I finished it at like 11:30 Monday night. Finally, I just had it on all day. There were a couple times when I lost track of what I was doing, so I like went back and read a recap online of the events that happened, and I felt like that was sufficient. But anyways, read Hellbent. It was very oddly comforting to be back in that world. However, Cassidy, it covers with Cassidy. She had reading sprints on her channel Sunday night, and I couldn't decide if I was going to start Dawn of Onyx, or I've been seeing so many people talk about the Legends of Thesmar, and I just so wanted to start that series and read Slaying the Shadow Prince. I also have wanted to start literally any book in the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers series situation. I have a copy of Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, but I just haven't picked it up yet because I'm kind of saving it for a rainy day in which I just need a Carissa Broadbent vampire situation. So I put in chat which I should read, and she picked Slaying the Shadow Prince over Dawn of Onyx, and so I went ahead and started it, and my goodness, I love that book. I liked it a lot. Like most people, I quite like shadow magic, but a lot of times it just feels like it's plopped in a story to be spicy and not necessarily as part of the world building or part of the magical system that's happening. It's just kind of fun to be spicy and to have shadow smut, basically. And I feel like this book was done so stinking well. Like the shadow magic was actually part of the magic system, but also part of the plot, and I liked that part of the plot. I also really liked the relationship in between Drew and Talamir. I felt like we had a rivals to lovers situation, and it is a standalone, so you're having to build up. Wow, talking and doing mascara at the same time does not lead to the best results, given that I'm talking with my hands and waving the wand around and drying things out. Anyways, they were rivals, and they started off very much so as rivals, and he was not as upsetty spaghetti at her as she was at him. We got so much good tension, but at the same time, when that tension actually resolved, it felt like at a reasonable point, meaning that I feel like they didn't just like all of a sudden decide that they were going to jump each other's bones. Like it felt very natural to their relationship. They'd had a couple of moments in which you were wondering if it was going to happen, and then it finally happened, and the way that their relationship developed felt very natural and intrinsic to the couple. And I quite liked it a lot. Are we calling this good for the makeup? I think we are. I just felt like this story made a lot of sense. It technically is a prequel, so I'm so excited. You get to see Wilder, who is the main male character in the Legends of Thesmar actual series. And so let's go ahead and talk. So I wanted to give a currently reading update in this update, but then I have some books that I have hauled that I need to discuss with you all. One of which being an update from my previous vlog that I need to address the elephant in the room with. Please hold. I posted in my last video that I'm actually going to be posting today. I put in my last video a little Barnes & Noble shopping trip that I had so much fun doing. It's been a hot minute since I've just walked around Barnes and had actually something to buy. So I got swept and saddled. And then I realized that I actually had put this on my wish list. And my bestie Callie on Instagram, I'll link her below. She's one of the first friends that I made online, and she's just one of the good ones. I love Callie. She did a raffle on her Instagram, and she always, in her raffles, she'll send one of the losers of the raffles a book. I happen to be one of the losers, and I happened to get this in the mail. First of all, thank you so much, Callie. I haven't read this yet. I'm kind of saving it a little bit for when it's not like overcast and gross. Like, I want it to be a spring fun cutesy cowboy romance moment. She's hosting a buddy read, so obviously she picked this off of my wish list. I forgot that I added this on my wish list. So basically the second that I bought this, I got this in the mail. So I did go and return the copy that I got at Barnes. However, I'm so excited to read this. Thank you, Callie. I literally am so excited and so grateful that you got this. So with that money that I returned, I got to spend it on some indie KU romances, fantasy romances. All of the words, all of the synonyms. Blood and Steel. I have had this on my TBR for a minute, but it's been recently moved up very high because so many people are reading this at the moment, given that book 3 just came out, Slaying the Shadow Prince. I did also order, but I ordered the hardback. I ordered the hardback to match my Slaying the Vampire Conqueror copy that I have. For some reason, the printing on it's going to take forever, so I think it should get here sometime next week. However, I may or may not jump into that this weekend. I definitely want to finish Dawn of Onyx. I didn't even in my reading update say I started Dawn of Onyx. I literally got a chapter into it before I fell asleep, and I am so excited to get to it. But I think I'm going to start this after. But then I have been thinking about owning the physical copies of Spark and Glow for literally ever since I started it, basically. I love these 2 books. I am obsessed. I have read both of these. If you haven't read the Kindred Curse saga or started it, there's book 4 is coming out in June, I believe. You need to get on it. Book 1, Spark of the Everflame, kind of is a more slow build. Also, the font in these copies is so big and they're really tall, but it's only 422 pages. Because it's shorter, the building doesn't feel painful, if that makes sense. And then Glow. Things happen, things go down, things are developed. I'll link the reading vlogs that I did for those down below. However, I think I'm gonna hold off on this Heat of the Everflame. This is a brick. This book is like 750 pages, something like that. It is so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. And because it's going to take a little bit more time to read, and because book 4, Burn of the Everflame, isn't coming out until June, I think we're going to wait just a little bit longer before I read Heat. However, I'm so excited to read this book, to finish out this series, and then book 4 is coming out. I'm so attached to these characters and to this series and to this magic system that I can't wait. I can't wait to A, continue the series, but then B, I'm also kind of sad that it's going to be over in June, and I literally still have 2 more books to go. So if that tells you how much I like it, that should tell you. Then I have one more book that I have been waiting for a very long time to order. It's a bind up and it's a bigger book, so it's usually like $36 on Amazon. It was on sale for like $27, so obviously I had to buy it. This is in my hands. Oh my gosh. I've wanted to order this book for a very long time, but again, I've been just kind of waiting because I feel like $36 for one copy of a book that I've already read feels like a lot of money. If you've not read the Mind Up series, it is absolutely everything to me. I absolutely love I have so many feelings about this series. It's not all happy. It's obviously a dark serial killer romance who's there to get some vengeance. She's got a backstory that you find out about that is just absolutely horrible, honestly. And if you have any interest in this series at all, definitely read the trigger warnings. There's a lot that happens that I won't get into. It's obviously dark and there are a lot of dark things that happen, but the emotional impact of this book is so up there. So technically this is 5 books. I still read the whole series in like 2 days because it is so fast paced and you need to know what's happening. I'm not really a thriller girl. Every now and then do like a good thriller. This has so many suspenseful elements. It kind of like scratches that itch, but at the same time there's a romance in here. It's also so dark. I have literally thought about that book since I finished it. So I'm glad to finally own a physical copy. So now that I have a ginormo stack of books that I went a little too ham on ordering, I'm going to be completely honest. I now need to put them somewhere, so I definitely need to reorganize books this weekend. It needs to happen. I have so many books that I have just decided I'm going to unhaul. I don't know that I'm going to film an unhaul, but I definitely need to make some moves on that. Also, just to make some room. I feel like I'm overwhelmed with the amount of books that I currently own, and I don't want to read half of them. So I just need to do a giant culling of everything in my life, but also specifically like in my life in general, but like mostly the books. I feel like my whole house needs to be decluttered, but we're focusing on the books. I may or may not go get my nails done. I may or may not put on a press-on set. I was doing acrylics for a couple of months and I loved it. I broke a nail and then my nail tech did not have availability, so I just decided to take everything off. And I miss it so badly, so I might just do a press-on set because she has been so busy, and she's usually very busy on the weekends anyways. But I might do nothing, but I also like having my nails done like a lot, so that might happen. Some reorganization and unhaul. I kind of want to go to the farmer's market. I'm going to be reading a Dawn of Onyx this weekend for sure. Some other things, I don't really know. We shall see. I will keep you updated for sure as we decide. Do I finally update my reading journal that I keep talking about, and I've been talking about literally since probably January, and it's currently March. Point being, we have got lots of things going on. I feel like if I actually vlog those things, the things will actually happen. Maybe if I sit down and like make the intention of vlogging those things. I am just so excited to not have any official plans this weekend. I don't have anything like actually scheduled and on the menu, if you will, so I'm just excited to have I'm just ready for the weekend. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy weekend, which is good timing because I need to go clock back into work and I ate nothing, so guess who's giving lunch today? It's me. Anyways, I'm probably gonna go turn the Warbreaker audio back on. I'm like halfway through it, and we'll check in later. TTYL. Also, one last thing before I go. My roommate found this sweatshirt on Etsy, and it's fueled by fiction and rage, and I've never felt more seen in an item of clothing. So anyways, that's all. I'm wearing my cute shirt. I have clean hair. I am in the middle of some really good books. I've got some new books that I get to go put places. I am so ready for this weekend. Let's go have a great time. I just wanted to check in and say hi, hello. I kind of had thought about listening to Warbreaker during the last half of work, but I didn't. However, I finished up the last half of work. I'm gonna film myself a little video real quick. All that to say, I don't know that I'm necessarily gonna go anywhere tonight. I think I'm just going to film this video, fold some laundry, maybe listen to my audiobook then, but tonight I want to go into Dawn of Onyx. Anyways, that's all. Happy Friday evening. Okay, bye. What a time to be alive. Hi everybody. Hello friends, and happy Saturday morning. I woke up at like 9 and I proceeded to lay in bed for the last hour, and I full sent herkle-durkled, and it was the greatest time of my life. Hi buddy. Last night I managed to get 0 reading done before I immediately fell asleep, and I mean passed out, fell asleep. I got 9% into Dawn of Onyx. I think I'm technically 32 pages. I went from chapter 1 to 32 pages. However, I just got to the very fun and exciting part that occurs in the beginning, I'll say, when things actually start to kick off, so I am very excited about that. However, when I woke up this morning, I got a notification that for some reason the mail had already come this morning, and I have 2 very exciting packages. The first one being a little bit less exciting compared to the other one, but still equally exciting. I am an espresso stan. Love espresso, and I love the Nespresso machine because I feel like I don't have the brain capacity to do like real espresso. Anyways, I got some new pods that I'm excited to try that I will be making here shortly. In case you were curious, which you probably weren't, but I'm telling you anyways, the double espresso Scuro is the girl. But I also wanted to try the cold brew style. My machine does do the cold brew stuff, but I've never tried it, and I'm very intrigued. I also got the usual Bianco Doppio, and I'm gonna try the ice Legeros. I think I might try this morning, but usually I'll do like like a double espresso situation with a little bit of creamer and almond milk, and it is the best. It's just the best. But I always ice it, so I feel like I should be using ice pods, right? Anyways, I'm very curious to see how those go. I need coffee right now, like I need air, so I'm excited to give those a go here in a minute. However, I think I might cry. I'm so dramatic. I was gonna try to tell you what this is before I actually open, but I don't think I can form the words with my mouth. To be fully honest with you, not only is it too early, but like also speechless. I'm going to scream. These edges are a little damaged, but I'm debating if it's like super problematic. Regardless. Oh my. Calm yourself, Leigh. Chill the freak out. Oh. My Lanta. This is everything I've ever wanted. My specific copies, some of the dust jackets down here are a little bent, and Morningstar, the edges, some of the pages in here are bent. Do I really, I mean, I care about it, but like, do I care enough about it? I probably should care more about it. I think I could mostly just bend it back and be fine with that. Am I fine with that? Meh. I think I should just be fine with that. The measure of a man is what he does when he has power. Home isn't where you're from, it's where you find the light when all dark grows. Forget a man's name and he'll forgive you, remember it, and he'll defend you forever. Oh my. Oh my. I cannot believe. I unfortunately was not able to get the signed. No. Were these digitally signed? I mean, these were digitally signed. I didn't think. Shut the front door. So I thought that these editions were going to be completely unsigned, but they're definitely digitally signed. I have absolutely no chill in this moment. Cannot believe this is happening to me right now. Words, Bailey. One of my favorite series of all time. Sorry, Oliver. I know am I freaking you out a little bit? Because I'm freaking myself out, don't you worry. As I bumped my tripod into absolute oblivion. One of my favorite series of all time is indeed none other than Red Rising. And yeah, I love everything about these editions that they did. These are the iron editions, like the post initial edition that they did. I prefer these so much so to the initial editions that they did, and I'm so stinking glad I was able to get my hands on these. Wow, go fairyloot. Thank you, fairyloot, as if you made them directly for me and not for your company at large. They're for me and me only. I cannot. The bottoms of these are just a black sprayed edge, and then the front of them is definitely how I'm going to display them. I actually cannot. Oh my god. I'm gonna need 6 to 8 business days to be able to recover and to potentially form words. So I've only read the first trilogy. I'm really considering starting Iron Gold soon, but I also know that I don't know if I'm ready for it, to be quite honest with you, given that it is such a chunky book. I don't know that I'm emotionally there yet at the moment, so I'm just gonna kind of chill in my cute fun romantasy land until I am ready. However, I have a feeling sometime this summer I'm going to pick up the rest of the series. I cannot wait for that day to come in which I finish the rest of the series, but I definitely hope that they do. I hope that they do the rest of this series in this style. Want more? Yes, I do. Am I ready for more? That's a better question. I need to find somewhere to put those on my shelves. I'm thinking I put them up here. I have the Chromecast on and rocking apparently. I last night filmed most of, my camera died before I could finish the rest of the video, but I filmed my favorite books of all time video, and so I had literally everything scattered around, and I kind of started to put stuff back, but then I also halted because I knocked over the pile of books. If you saw the pile, I knocked that over, and then I bent the front cover of my Mind F series. So that's cool. So I'm currently trying to squash that cover back down. I feel like now I can go reorganize, but I need to reorganize and make room for all of the things that I just got that are like top shelf, forefront favorite books. So I might not just like go have a bowl of cereal for breakfast because that kind of just sounds good. I also don't really have anything else to have for breakfast. I need to make a coffee, and then Tori's reading sprints are here in a little bit. I'm currently watching Monica's reading sprints. Well, I'm not really currently watching. I started watching Monica's reading sprints and had full intentions of actually like getting up out of bed and getting some reading done, given that all I want to do, all I want to do is catch up and read more Dawn of Onyx. However, I just haven't made it there yet, and honestly I kind of feel like because today is so overcast and gross, I'm not gonna go anywhere. Anyways, I am going to get some reorganizing things done, get some running around the house things done before I sit down for Tori's reading sprints here in like 2 hours. Well, what time is it?
It's 11:22 a.m.
I have 30 minutes. I have no concept of time. Anyways, I think what I'm gonna save Monica's sprints for later. I woke up and got the notification that she was doing sprints this morning, and so I was like, okay, that'll be good. I'll sit down and get some reading done. And then I promptly could not get my brain to work, so I just laid around for an hour and did absolutely nothing, and then just kind of didn't start strong, so I'm just not gonna finish strong. And then I'll save those sprints. I like to go back and rewatch sprints sometimes too, so I might save that for tonight or maybe tomorrow, given that Tori won't be sprinting tomorrow. I know I've said it a million times, I am obsessed with reading sprints, and I am obsessed with Realmathon, given that there are sprints almost every day. I'm having the best time, and I'm going to have such aggressive withdrawals when it's over, in terms of not just how fast I've been finishing books, but the actual, I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been sitting down and reading a lot, which has been so much fun. Minus Dawn of Onyx, given that I just haven't, I don't know. I feel like this week has been kind of weird, and I just haven't sat down to actually read yet. And there's nothing wrong with this book, given that I haven't even read any of it. It's just the act of actually reading. But I know that once I get into this book and I, actually start reading this book, I'm going to be obsessed. And I'm ready for that journey. So, quick little warbreaker update while I fold the massive amounts of laundry that I have been avoiding. It is interesting to me, the character flips we're getting, meaning that we have these characters that very strongly believe certain things, and then these characters to the reader are kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie, with their very strong and firm opinions, at least in Vivenna's sake. Vivenna is just like not my favorite. She has some opinions that she is very stubbornly clinging to, given that she was raised to be like the model sibling, if you will, and to like have all of these moral standards, right? So she finds out that not everyone is the same, and that there are in fact other ways of life in the world. And I think that's really interesting. And we're also getting to see from the God King specifically, like, not everything is as it seems. We'll say that. And some of those reveals, if you will, are interesting. I just started chapter 55. I'm in the middle of Vivenna exploring the city and realizing that, not everything that she was taught was bad, given being in a different environment, and how, like, being in a different environment, things that she always maintained as the most evil thing in the world made logical sense. Like, she was always taught that modesty was integral to herself. And, you know, going to a hot coastal town, she's kind of realizing, hey, you know, wearing a tank top kind of makes things better. Like, kind of makes sense. So I think just like that character growth that we're looking at is very interesting. However, on the other side of that, I'm enjoying Siri kind of doing her best in an environment where she was kind of set up to fail. Like, she's kind of killing it, and she's figuring out some things that needed to be figured out. On the other hand, Lightsong is interesting. Like, he is a god who doesn't believe in his own religion. He's so self-deprecating, but at the same time so oblivious to the privilege that he has, and he's kind of learning how oblivious he is, and I think that also makes for a motivating character and makes way for some really interesting character development. However, I still feel like nothing has happened. So, I don't know, and I think, once again, I'm just in the mood for fast-paced something or other. However, this is definitely a character-driven story, and then it's a lot of really cool descriptions and really cleverly written descriptions that, you know, make up what's good about this book and what makes up the vast majority of it. Why am I trying to hang leggings? I don't know. So I'm enjoying it. I can't wait for things to start happening, though. Again, I don't know what this current mood is where I want all of the fast-paced drama, and I don't know where that's coming from, but it's here and we're working through it. So I've read 50 pages today. In the first, I say read, reading is so much easier whenever you listen to the audiobooks and you do other things that you have been putting off for forever. I listened to 50 pages. I'm at, like I said, I'm at the very beginning of chapter 25. No, I'm like halfway through 25 right now. So we'll see, we're moving and grooving. Part of me is really tempted to just up the speed on Warbreaker and just get it done. Like, I feel like my attention's being held, but it's not being like aggressively held, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I need to just read the stinking book because I have been working on it for so long and I've been making some progress, and also I just feel like I need the motivation of finishing another book given that I'm in the middle of so many things again. So that's kind of where I'm at. We'll see if I keep listening to that, if I decide to switch off to something else, or if I don't know. Yeah, but I definitely feel like today's just gonna be an audiobook kind of day because I need to get literally all of this laundry folded, and it's taking me forever given that I had like 3 loads of laundry to fold. But I also still want to update my reading journal, and I keep saying that I want to do my diamond painting again. I have not touched it in a hot minute, so that's all that's happening. TTYL. Okay, so I literally got 2 more sentences in, and I don't think I drove home the fact enough that Vivenna was raised very much so in the way that her morals were integral into surviving against this other country and in this world. So the fact that she's listening to other people tell her differently, and she's like, can't be true. And it's like she's in the middle of character growth, but I need to hurry up and grow up. Am I the problem? I think I am the problem. Anyways, I upped the audiobook speed to like 2.5. And that feels a lot better. Like, for some reason, I feel like this narrator is just reading things very slow. So that's all. Oliver decided to just walk through into and through my makeup bag. You don't have to be that nosy, buddy. It's okay to leave some space. He's looking at me like he is just timing the minutes until he can crawl into my lap. Anyways, hi friends, happy Sunday. I am getting ready I have a couple things that I need to do today, and I have managed to lay in bed absolutely all morning. Anyways, yesterday I ended up finishing, for the most part, folding all of my laundry. I ran out of hangers, so I went to Sam's to get more hangers, and I proceeded to get everything other than hangers. So I not only need to go back to Sam's, I bought a pair of shorts that ended up not being the right size, so I'm gonna go return those, and then I'm gonna get hangers. But anyways, I finished Warbreaker. I have some thoughts. Where to even begin? I should begin with chapstick because I need it desperately. So I was absolutely hating on Vivenna, right? I am mostly convinced that I don't hate her now that she has gone through all of the character growth that she went through. I didn't love the specific conflict element that she was going through while she was going through it, because it just felt, it didn't, I mean, not that it felt random, but it just felt like, okay. But at the same time, looking back at after it now, like, while that she was out of that, it made sense as to that being one of the only factors that could make her, like, experience what she experienced. Like, it did end up making sense in that way. I did, however, her ending, not only do I absolutely love her ending and the way that everything in this book ended, I desperately need to read, I so desperately want to read The Way of Kings now, which is a commitment. I'm not sure that I'm ready to make that commitment anytime soon, but like I want to be desperately. Anyways, I can also see Ginger sitting on the corner of my bed right here, and she's just mad that I'm not paying attention to her, and it's characteristic. Anyways, overall, I think I'm going to give it a 4-star. I definitely was losing some interest big time the last time I checked in, and then things picked up pretty quickly after that, I felt like. But I would definitely recommend the audiobook. I feel like not only, maybe the audiobook made me feel a certain way about the characters and like how whiny some of them were. However, I don't know that I would have gotten through it without the audiobook necessarily. I feel like listening to the descriptions of all of the colors and things was very interesting, so I definitely was glad for that reason to have listened to the audiobook. I felt like the characters may or may not have been my favorite with or without listening to audio, so take it or leave it. So last night as I finished the audiobook, I was so freaking tired. I literally just fell asleep on the couch. Anyways, I was planning out, I was kind of arranging all of my thoughts in my brain and like kind of planning out what I was going to say, because I had intended to update last night, but then I got tired and fell asleep. That is a lot of blush. Okay, it matches this top very well though. Interesting. I was like planning out all of the things that I wanted to say about it, and I have, because I didn't say the things last night, I have completely forgotten all of the things that I was going to say. So that's great, cool, and fun. I did accidentally Google some things that I shouldn't have, and I will say I noticed this when I was listening to the Well of Ascension audio, that like I was listening to it, but I just wanted to go back and make sure that I didn't miss anything like super important. So I went back and read a plot summary, and I felt like I couldn't find any detailed summaries online of Warbreaker, so I went to the Copper Mines, and I definitely spoiled some things for myself, obviously. However, now I'm so excited because I told myself that once I finished The Well of Ascension and The Hero of Ages, I could then start The Way of Kings. And I think I've already talked about this, how one of my friends on Instagram is doing a buddy read, and if I ever want to read The Way of Kings, now is the time. My plan was to read the rest of Mistborn Era 1 and then get into The Way of Kings. I think that still is the plan. However, I am desperate to read The Way of Kings now. I don't necessarily know that you can sit by me, but I'm not going to touch you or pet you right now because I'm busy. Not everything has to be about you always. I spoke too soon. Hi. Come here, come sit. Come here. Right here. Nope. The problem with you sitting right here is that you're going to try to jump up and wake me. Golden doodles are menaces. I really quite like the idea of government and who's right and who's wrong, and watching like political schemings and not everything is how you think it is. It's very much so a theme here. I like some of the reversals on like what you think is going to happen ends up not happening. The whole biochromatic breath world building situation was so stinking interesting because I felt like the way that Brandon Sanderson does his magic system, magic never just swoops in and saves the day. It's always how the person uses the magic. And I find that so interesting because then you can kind of think through action scenes more. Like you can be more involved with how you think that things are going to go, like with how you not really critical reading, but the fact that you can anticipate certain plot twists and not necessarily anticipate them, but attempt to anticipate them. And then the way that it's done is always some really clever machination of the existing concrete magic system, if that makes sense. Like magic just never swoops in and magically saves the day. I appreciate that quite a lot. One thing I was not expecting with this book was this obviously is not a romance forward book. However, there were relationships in general to follow, one of which being the most wholesome of all wholesome relationships I've ever seen in anything ever. But anyways, I liked it enough. It sits at like a lower 4-star for me. The way that Sanderson does his pacing is not necessarily my favorite. You get looped in pretty quickly from the beginning, but then as it goes on, you're kind of like, okay, and then the end hits and Sander's Lange occurs and you're just ready to go. I really quite enjoyed the last third of the book. Maybe like it's not something that I think that anyone should necessarily prioritize over other books necessarily. Do I give it a 3? I feel like saying that out loud means that it needs to be a 3, but like I also don't want to give it a 3 because there are certain parts that I really liked. So I feel like it's more of like a 3.5, but I will probably rate it a 4 on Goodreads, though I wasn't necessarily fully emotionally connected to the whole book, if that makes sense. Which it doesn't really, but it makes a little bit of sense in my head, and that's what we're going with for now. Also, I'm realizing that literally every clip in this weekend vlog is going to be me sitting in this exact position, so sorry. Maybe my vlogs will get better as time goes on, but today's not that day apparently. However, I might have started another cowboy romance. Last night, I was going to start it last night, but then I ended up starting it this morning. One of my friends, Alina, I'll link her Instagram down below, but she sent me a reel and was like, I heard you talking about cowboy romances in a video, and I just thought I'd, send this your way. I'm interested in starting it soon. And I said, oh, so we're starting it soon is what you're saying. So we're currently buddy reading that, and as of now, did I even say what this was? It is Holding the Reins by Paisley Hope. It's kind of fun. I honestly just needed some brain candy after the Warbreaker isn't really dense, but I needed something fun and like quick and fun. So I picked that up and I have conflicting opinions. One of those opinions being that it is really quite fun. The other opinion being that it is very copy-paste from other books. I am very curious to see how it develops, and I'm holding out hope that it's going to differentiate itself from other things. However, as of right now, it's a weird mixture of Done and Dusted and Chestnut Springs, meaning that the initial plot is identical to Done and Dusted in the sense that there's an older brother. There are a couple differences. Number one, Cece, our main character, is going through a breakup. Clementine also went through a breakup though. Ooh. So both of these characters are having situations in which they are fleeing, so they decide to return home. There is a death of a parent that they're both working through. On top of, there are 2 older brothers that are both grumpy protecting cowboys that this gets more identical the more that I think about it. You've got a Wade, which sounds real similar to Cade from Heartless in Chestnut Springs, and then you've got a Cole, which ironically enough is one of the Gold Rush Ranch Elsie Silvermen, and they both give very similar vibes, but at the same time, like, how dissimilar can a grumpy character be from another grumpy character, you know? But specifically Done and Dusted comparisons, you have her oldest brother's best friend. There's an age gap situation. He's a bar owner and he runs into her at his bar and then has to like fend off all of the other men from her because she's just so much of a hot ticket item. So there's that. There is also, I cannot make this up, in Done and Dusted, she has a niece, right? I would get up and go get the book and actually check, but Oliver is so comfy in my lap right now. Can I even show you? Probably. What are those paws he's doing? Oh, he's gone. Okay, hold. My legs are so asleep. Hello friends, long time no see. It has actually been a couple weeks. Kind of forgot to wrap up this vlog. However, that kind of works out because I actually did finish Holding the Reins the other day and I can give you some final wrapped up thoughts. I like this book. I gave it a 3 stars. However, it's nothing super special or different, especially if you have already read Chestnut Springs and the Rebel Blue Ranch, Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. You've already read it. To be fully honest with you, it definitely, because I was focusing on so many things at once, it was obviously small town, but it was a cowboy romance, but then also a hockey romance on the side. But he was a retired hockey player, so he didn't get the hockey, but also he was really more business owner, so he really didn't get the cowboy romance either. I feel like it was just overall a small town romance book. But if you like both of those two series and you're looking for something to fill the void, I would definitely recommend this book in that case. Also, the spice in this book was definitely spicing, and it was also just like a fun, easy to read, quick book. So if you're not necessarily looking for anything different, I would recommend this book. However, if you're looking for something different, it's not gonna be that. And I, to a certain degree, kind of wish I had DNF'd it just because I feel like I so stinking recently read Swift and Saddled that I feel like I wasn't necessarily enjoying it a whole ton because I just felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again. So I definitely would say if you already read those, I might recommend waiting a little bit to pick those up because I feel like that would have worked a little bit better for me. However, it was what it was. So I gave it a 3 star. Anywho's-in. Thank you so much for watching this vlog that kind of didn't really end up going anywhere and was just like a big chit-chatty mess in which I set out with really good intentions and then didn't follow through with anything. Sometimes like that, it just be. You know, if you're interested in my thoughts in Dawn of Onyx, I'm definitely going to be reading that either this week or next week. It's currently Wednesday and I do have some weekend plans, but we'll see how it goes. But I do need to finish it before Promise of Peridot, and I will be vlogging the rest of that book. So if you're interested in my final thoughts on that one, feel free to subscribe and stick around. Also follow me on Instagram. Don't forget to like this video, all of the good YouTube-y things. And anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.